something one of our Republican colleagues said in this hearing room just before you came in here. Earlier, I asked Chairman Cole a simple question. I said, do you think the House should have been here these last 8 weeks trying to pass appropriation bills? Because as you know, as appropriations chair, he still has not passed 9 out of 12 bills that need to pass by the end of the fiscal year, which was in September, by the way, to keep the government funding. So I pointed that out. And he gave this long, meandering non-answer, and he said something that stood out to me as odd, and it kind of shocked me, to be honest. And I went back and I looked at the transcript, and he said it was okay that we weren't here because, quote, there wasn't anything for us to do until the Senate acted, end quote. And I got to tell you, I'm shocked by that Republicans would say there wasn't anything for us to do. And can you talk about what the House should have been doing for the last 8 weeks on affordability, on health care, on grocery prices, on rent, on what looks like a war that might occur in the Caribbean, on the many things that people are looking for us to take action on? What would Democrats have done if we were in charge here?
Well, I thank the distinguished gentleman from the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, and it's an incredible question. It was a stunning answer. Given all of the problems that the American people are confronting right now, throughout the country, beginning with the affordability crisis, the cost of living in America is far too high. The American people throughout the country just made that clear last Tuesday across the country, that they want to see action. Yet, for 7+ weeks, House Republicans saw fit to be on a taxpayer-funded vacation, missing in action, part of the witness protection program, doing nothing to make life better for the American people. That's extraordinary. And you got to wonder whether this was an order that was given by Donald Trump, who apparently has said that he's got 2 jobs. He's both the president and the Speaker of the House. His words, not mine. Donald Trump apparently doesn't believe that there's an affordability crisis. Said it himself. There is no affordability crisis in the United States of America. That's what Donald Trump, the top Republican in this country, says. So I guess it's no small wonder that the Republican chairman of the Appropriations Committee would say that there's nothing to do. Because Republicans apparently don't think that there are problems in this country that should be dealt with, such that the House of Representatives should be in session. But as Democrats, our view is that we've got to lower the high cost of living. We've got to make life more affordable for everyday Americans who are suffering under crushing Republican policies. Costs haven't gone down. That was the day one promise. Costs have gone up. Inflation going in the wrong direction. Far too many people across this country working hard, playing by the rules, but cannot get ahead, are barely getting by, can't thrive, and can barely survive. This is in America, the wealthiest country in the history of the world. And Republicans have been out since September 19th. That's extraordinary. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. Apparently, House Democrats are the only ones committed on a day-to-day, week-to-week, month-to-month basis to do the people's business. And our commitment remains to lower the high cost of living, to fix our broken healthcare system, starting by extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits to prevent tens of millions of people from experiencing unaffordable healthcare premiums skyrocketing through the roof that will either lead to medical bankruptcy or prevent them from being able to go see a doctor when they need one.
Well, if I could go back to the issue of health care, just for the record, I mean, has Speaker Johnson promised a vote to extend the ACA tax credits to either of you?
It's extraordinary that he hasn't indicated that there will be a vote one way or the other to address the Republican health care crisis. Now, our colleague from the great state of Georgia, Marjorie Taylor Greene, found it laughable that there's a Republican health care plan. She said she couldn't find it. She can't find it because it doesn't exist. Now, we know what the plan has been in the past. In terms of the Affordable Care Act, Republicans have tried to repeal it more than 70 times over the last 15 years. And so we are just trying to get our Republican colleagues to take yes for an answer. We've said repeatedly, let's find a bipartisan path forward. Let's reopen the government. Let's make life better for the American people. But let's address the health care crisis that our Republican colleagues have created, and we can start by extending the Affordable Care Act tax credits.
Has he talked to any of you about a pathway forward? I mean, has he engaged either of you on our leadership about how we might resolve this health care crisis?
Absolutely not. And it is astounding when we have 60% of American families telling us they have a hard time affording the basics for their families. This is about lowering people's costs, whether that's housing, groceries, utility bills, and affording health care. This should be something that Republicans should have come and negotiated with us, but they wouldn't do that. They showed so little regard for the American people. Not only did they make this extreme bargain where they took away their health care, Medicare, Medicaid, the ACA tax subsidies, medical research, all to pay for permanent tax cuts for the very wealthiest Americans. They couldn't even, while they were home, not doing their jobs, swear in a duly elected member of Congress, because they would rather not do that than actually have to talk about the fact that they are shielding those in the Epstein files. The outrages and the disdain and arrogance that they look at the American people with is truly hard to take in.
I mean, I took the train down here today, and I got an earful from a lot of people on the train. And they're quite frankly puzzled at, like, the priorities of Washington right now. They don't understand, why billionaires and millionaires get tax cuts and the ACA tax credits can't be extended so that working families can afford their health care. They don't understand Donald Trump's obsession with redoing his bathroom in marble and gold and, building a Marie Antoinette, ballroom and demolishing the East Wing while they're struggling to afford groceries. I mean, well, bottom line is the president won't even acknowledge that food prices are going up. When's the last time he's ever been in a grocery store? He has no clue what he's talking about. You got to talk to real people. But there is a disconnect, and people are furious. And by the way, this is not about Democrat versus Republican or left versus right. This is now about top versus bottom. I mean, and people increasingly feel like they do not have a voice down here, that the leadership in this Congress and this White House, all they care about are people who are well off and well connected, who can write out big checks, and who can help enrich, the president and his family and those around him. And, that's corruption. That is corruption. I used to say during his first term that Donald Trump is the most corrupt U.S. president in recent history. This time around, I want to amend that statement to take out the word recent. This is unconscionable what's going on. And we ought to be able to come together and make sure people don't get screwed over on their health care. And I thank you, and I yield back.
Thank you.